Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I'll be your host, Blackenfist, and it seems that Persona 5 has a new trailer out. And quite honestly, it shows a lot more than the previous one, which really was a tease. It really didn't show much. At least this time it actually showed what the game might possibly look like, and a couple other things. So from the opening scene that we see in the trailer, it seems that the main character here is a thief of sorts, kind of a guy who likes to commit heists. It looks like he was in a casino and he was breaking into it, and he was stealing something. Men in Black apparently looking for him. So that's kind of interesting. I heard that the protagonist was going to be a normal student like the previous Persona games, and I was actually quite disappointed by this information. But the fact that our protagonist is a thief, maybe a vigilante of sorts, we don't know that for now, but that's pretty interesting on its own. One of the biggest things that actually popped out to me was the fact that Igor pretty much is confirmed for this game. Something that I didn't think was going to happen. Now, the reason I am surprised that Igor's in this game at all is because even though Igor has been part of Persona since the very beginning, he's been in every single game, I was thinking that his character was going to be retired because the voice actor that plays him died. And the reason I was going along these lines is because if you guys don't know, the Persona Q game that came out actually did not feature Igor at all, which surprised me, and I thought that the reason was because they were going to retire the character. However, this was not true, and it seems that Igor is returning to Persona 5, which you know, I just can't have a Persona game without Igor. We also get to see a little bit of how the game is going to look like. I don't think we got any specific things, just normal things that we've seen in other Persona games. Him going to school, him walking around the world. It seems the big thing with Persona 5 is the masks, as the main character sports one. And speaking of the other characters, we actually get to see the other characters, and that's actually one thing that intrigued me the most. From the still shots that we saw from them in the shop, the weapon shop, it seems that this game is only going to have 4 characters total, including the protagonist himself. The thing that makes me believe that there's only 4 characters, besides the fact that we only see 4 of these characters, whose names are, by the way, Ryuichi, Annie, and Morgana. So my guess is that these are the guys that are going to be the main cast. But the thing that strikes me is that it's only 4 of them, considering the fact that Persona 5 follows in the footsteps of Persona 4 and 3. Both of those games kind of had a larger main cast. Persona 3 had 9 playable characters and Persona 4 had 7. Considerably larger, I would say, in the playable character department. Now, it could be that, you know, there will be more playable characters in this game. However, I kind of doubt it, considering the fact that they weren't revealed in this trailer, and with the screenshots of the store, there didn't seem to be any other names that were listed there. So my guess is that these 4 characters are going to be our main cast of this game. So that's an interesting way to look at Persona 5. It seems that they're trying to shrink down the cast size of 5, and perhaps they're going to do this probably, considering the fact that Persona is heavy on character development, probably to try to develop these characters more fully and thoroughly than even maybe 3 and 4 did, which I think did a pretty good job on their own. But one thing that just seemed absent to me was the fact that there were no personas in this game. You know, we didn't see any character use the personas or anything. We just saw them use their normal weapons. You know, we just saw glimpses of combat. And speaking of weapons, by the way, it seems that Persona might introduce range in their combat, because apparently each character now has a melee and a ranged weapon, something that hasn't appeared in previous series. As we all know, both Persona 3 and 4, the characters only had one melee weapon, so I don't know what the ranged aspect will be, because I think a completely new gameplay mechanic, if what I'm thinking is going to happen here, where you can attack enemies at a distance, that has never been part of Persona. But going back to the personas, it seems that this trailer did not reveal at all any of the personas, let alone how they invoke their personas in this game like they do in 3 and 4. However, I have my own theory on this, and my evidence, I do grant it, is not concrete, but at the very end of this trailer, you see the main character with glowing gold eyes, and then getting enveloped in blue flame. And I have a very strong feeling that this scene that we see at the very end is when the protagonist first invokes his persona. And I actually have a strong feeling that the way the personas work in this is that the characters actually become the personas. That's kind of what I inferred what was happening at the end, where he was getting invoked in flame. I was thinking perhaps that he was becoming the actual persona in this, which could be a very cool concept, I think. But, and as I said, I have, I guess, not the most concrete evidence, but the fact that his eyes are glowing, I don't know if you guys noticed this. This is something subtle that I noticed, but every time the protagonists of the Persona 3 and 4, when they first invoked their personas, their eyes were glowing, in fact. And I guess that's a flimsy evidence, but my guess is that this scene that we see at the end is the protagonist for the first time invoking his persona. And the way personas are going to work is the characters are actually going to turn into them. But anyway, that's really all my thoughts on this trailer. Maybe perhaps I'll make some more videos about what I hope to expect from Persona 5 and what I hope to personally see from it. Perhaps that'll be a video for the future. But as for now, I hope you guys enjoyed my short analysis. But I'm Blackenfist, and I'm out, man.